Yo, Yu-Gi-Oh players, it's your boy Chris Mack coming at you with another deck profile. This time we're probably just gonna go ahead and be focusing on one of the newer decks in the meta. Really haven't seen that much popularity as far as topping in major events, but I have the deck built. I think it'll be a strong competitor, dependent on this ban list. So here we go. Here is the Bujin deck profile. Right, so monsters first as far as for what I like to run. Of course, we are going to need 3 Bujin Yamato, heart, one part of the heart in this deck, 3 Bujin Mikazuchis. A lot of people say they only want to run 2. I prefer to run 3, so that way it's very consistent. It's a Bujin Beast Warrior, and as I'm pretty sure all of you know, all of the Bujingi cards, their support cards, require that you have a Bujin Beast Warrior type monster. Speaking of which, one of the most broken ones I run 3 of is Crane. A lot of the times I feel as though I want to put it down to 2, just because you get in that opening hand with a turtle or a centipede, or you open up double Crane, no Yamato nowhere, no Mikazuchi nowhere, and you're stuck with like cranes in hand and you don't want to get rid of them. So, I mean, I may try that too, but for right now I'm going to keep it at 3. 2 turtles. May want to go ahead and switch out the crane for a 3rd turtle. A lot of cards in the game that target a Bujin Beast Warrior monster. So he's just great protection. I was able to fend off a Dracosac for like 4 turns if I include the Bujin Regalia sword that put my turtles back into the graveyard. 2 Quillins, another card I'm iffy on. It's either going to be Turtle or Quillin that goes up to 3. Reason being, Quillin hits any face-up card on the field, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, it gives you extra MSTs, it gives you extra centipede kills. It gets rid of problematic cards that are in the way. So yes, he's at 2. He may go ahead and get bumped up to 3. It's strong. Really dependent on Turtle and Quillin. 2 Centipede. With Heavy Storm gone, like everyone's not afraid to go set 5. And set cards they know they're not going to use until mid to late game that can win them the game. But with Centipede, it basically it's a searchable Mystical Space Typhoon. That's pretty much what it is. I can search it, dump it into the graveyard, next turn, MST your back row, and leave them with the salt in their eyes. Then of course, since primarily this deck is a light attribute deck, 1 Honest. Honest can go ahead and touch every monster in the main board. Every monster Honest can touch and grace it with its power. Let's go ahead and move on to spells. 1 Dark Hole, pretty much staple in every deck. You can't get around it really. 2 Tinky. Like I said, with the added Bujin Beast Warriors, people usually run 2 Mikazuchi and 1 Bear, just that way they can search out the Tinkies. But then it's kind of pointless after that when you draw both of the Tinkies and then you draw a Bear. If the Tinky's up, it'll be good for Bear's effect, but ultimately people have Bear in the deck to go on ahead and search out the Tinkies with a direct attack or running over a monster. So, I like it. It seems to be pretty consistent without the Bear. 2 Bujin Carnations. This card's really good. It reminds me of Heraldry Advanced Heraldry Art, the one that special summons 2 Heraldry monsters from your graveyard, and they instantly go into an XYZ monster. This is a little bit different. I get to special summon 1 remove from play Bujin and 1 Bujin monster card in my graveyard, and I would have the choice of whether or not I want to use them to exceed I can use them for synchro, I can use them for tribute fodder and things of that nature. But if I use them to exceed, it has to be for a beast warrior, or winged beast type monster. Once we go over the extra deck, you'll go ahead and see why I made some of the decisions. Some people are saying, oh, you got to take that card out. But in all honesty, for when it gets down to that clutch moment, some of these cards that I did put in my extra deck, kind of have that clutching power. Especially for when I can go ahead and just bring them out basically for free with Bujin Carnation. Two-potter duality, like I said, just really trying to keep up the consistency with the deck. I don't want to go ahead and bump it up to 3 on off chance, I end up getting stuff like Bujin Carnation, a bunch of stuff that I may not need, or, will ruin the search capabilities of Yamato and Mikazuchi. That's another big thing. You don't want to kind of rush into it. You want to be able to consistently grab stuff each and every turn, so that way you really have control of the game. This is a very tempo-based deck, so you kind of have to keep it on that tempo. 2 Forbidden Lances, of course, battle shenanigans, protection for the monsters, and to stop your opponents from playing silly little cards on their monsters, to go ahead and keep them, I guess, from running over yours. Then, of course, last but not least, 3 Mystical Space Typhoons. Like I said, Heavy Storm's gone. A lot of decks out there just running rampant with I'm just going to set and I don't care, because I know for a fact my opponent doesn't have Heavy Storm, Giant Trinade, nor, Cold Wave. So, we need to be able to get rid of the back row for most of the decks out here. Normally, the MSTs get side decked out when going against dragons and things like that. But that, because I would still have centipedes, but 9 times out of 10, the centipedes get sided out over the MSTs unless it's a deck that I know won't set any back row, like Chaos Dragons and stuff like that. For the traps, I'm running 2 Horn of the Phantom Beasts. Seen one of my friends running it in their version of the Bujin build. It's actually a great card. It keeps up with the consistency. Also, this card can be used on Turtle, can be used on Centipede. So that way, those chances when I don't see a Yamato, I have the potential to keep a monster on board while at the same time, drawing the card and trying to get into what I need. So it just really ups the consistency and helps me keep field presence. 2 Bujin Regalia the Sword. Like I said, sometimes when you just speed along through with a lot of stuff, you end up overusing certain monsters' effects like Crane or Centipede or Quillen or Turtle, and you're gonna need those times, or you're gonna need those that extra push. Like, I may need an extra Turtle in the graveyard, I may need another Crane in hand, or for the love of God, my deck is drawing very horrible and I need a Yamato to go ahead and get things going again, get my tempo started. But only Yamato I've come across is the one that's in my graveyard. Boom, set this, grab Yamato back, start going ahead with my in-face shenanigans again. Double Mirror Force, like a lot of the pro players said it, Roy Sinclair, one with other guys, Boy Best Fair. Double Mirror Force punishes a bad player. Like, come on, everybody knows there's a Double Mirror Force. You sit there, get a field full of opponents, and you cannot protect those monsters, and your opponent looks at you like, I wish you would swing, and they have something said, it's probably a Mirror Force. One Bottomless, everybody doesn't like running one for some reason, just because it's at 1. You still need it, unfortunately. Your opponent's not going to stop summoning big monsters just because bottomless is at 1. 1 compulse. I know why it went down to 1. This card was extremely good. It sucks we didn't realize it until a format when we needed it. Like, this card would have been great against Dino Rabbit, all that other stuff, just running 3 of it. Like, as soon as XYZs came out, this should have been at 3. Zen mains, no. Zen main should not have been a high dollar card when a 5-cent card could have taken it out. Double Magic Cylinder. I saw this in a deck profile for one of the ones. I think it won a regionals, or it topped at a regionals here within the last month. Everyone should know what Magic Cylinder does. I was running Bujin Crow, but after looking at that deck profile and reading Crow, I felt like just completely stupid. Like, I can only do Crow's effect once per turn. I mean, I'm only going to activate Crow when my opponent attacks, so why not run Cylinder, where I don't need to have a Bujin monster I control, and I can use both cylinders in the same turn if I want. And then Cylinder goes ahead and burns it for the whole attack. So, I mean, props to the guy who originated that idea. I'm not going to take it for myself because that would just be wrong. Of course, one warning. Solid warning. No need for explanation there. One Phoenix Chain. I need another one. Unfortunately, I only have 1. I would like to at least have 2. So that way, because it's just a very good card. I'm not going to go over a side deck for this deck because I don't have a sideboard complete for it, I should say. I have side deck cards, but I'm missing a lot more. I will go ahead and see if I can do a binder video later on, hopefully sometime this month. So that way, you guys can take a look, let me know what you need. If I got any of the things you want, I'll post a list of my wants on that video. Also going ahead, just in case you guys like the Bujin playmat I have right here, let me go ahead and slide it over some so you guys can see it. On one side, we have Mikazuchi, and right here, on the other side, we have Yamato, and we have their XYZ forms in the background. This map was made before Mikazuchi was released here in the TCG. So, I've had this mat for quite some time, actually around September. So that's why, I thought it would only be appropriate to do a deck profile on Bujins with the Bujin playmat. But onto the extra deck. 2 Susanoo. Really dependent on the number of Bujin carnations I run would be, I guess, kind of the answer if I was going to run a third. Right now I'm only running 2 Bujin carnations, but Susanoo wins games a lot. In a Asura Priest effect that can, and once per turn, I can detach an XYZ material to go ahead and either add 1 Bujin monster from my deck to my hand or send it from the deck to the grave. So it gets around, like, if you have him up and you flip up Vanity's Emptiness, he gets around the emptiness because all I really got to do is search for my Crane. No card from the deck went to the graveyard. I mean, unless, until he attacks, unfortunately. But I mean, if you're getting off direct attacks, my opponent can't go ahead and summon or special summon no battle fader. And then, if you go ahead and detach to grab a Crane or Yamato or Mikazuchi to hand, and Turtle was one of the cards you detached, of course, there's that ruling circulating around, that Swift Scarecrow targets the monster. So Turtle will go ahead and negate the effect of Swift Scarecrow, allowing me to swing through directly. 1 Tiger King. Tiger King in here, I really don't even use it for its first effect. I mean, unless I can. I mean, hey, it's a plus. but it's really used more so for the second effect, to go ahead and just be a skill drain until the next turn. Lot of monsters with new rank 3. The bluebird guy, a lot of people call him Mordecai from the regular show. But yeah, like with that guy not being able to be target, he doesn't target. He'll go ahead negate the effect of all non-beast warrior monsters currently face up on the field. So he's good in that sense. One of the Kakasuchi. Kakasuchi, pretty much he's a 25 beat stick. He mills and has the possibility to go ahead and increase his attack. But his last effect, which a lot of people look over, and that's if a Bujin monster on your side of the field would be destroyed by card effects, or I believe it's also card effects and battle. Yeah, it's by card effects and battle. You can detach one exceed material to go ahead and protect that Bujin monster, but it can only be one. There can only be one. Then let's just go ahead and I guess right now I'll go over my Bujin incarnation exceeds. One being Diamond Direwolf. I do have 2 spaces in my extra deck. I may up this to 2 just because he is a Bujin incarnation applicant. So it makes it really good, and all the monsters in the deck, with the exception of Honest, are also targets for Diamond Direwolf to blow up and obtain his ability. Constello Omega, just because Constello Omega, he can lance himself. So it's pretty good. Like, when people have those cards that say, oh, your monster can attack, or oh, I'm going to tie down your monster. No, I'm going to lance my Omega, and I'm going to go ahead and swing through. One of the last choices I have here for my Bujin incarnation targets, number 44, Sky Pegasus. A lot of people is like, oh, he's just the same as Black Ship of Corn, but his attack is higher, and stuff like that, and your opponent can choose to negate it. The main difference between Sky Pegasus and Black Ship of Corn, Sky Pegasus, even though your opponent does have to choose, with Sky Pegasus, you can choose any monster. Your opponent decides, hey, I want to keep that monster around. They have to pay 1,000 life points, but Sky Pegasus can still attack. And with Sky Pegasus being a light type monster, if I have Honest in hand, I can pretty much get over whatever it is they try to save and deal an additional 18. So, in all honesty, I can most likely get 28 out of just him. As far as for Black Ship of Corn, with Black Ship of Corn, of course, everybody knows what he does. Oh, if the monster's lower, detach, send it to the graveyard. If it's sent to the graveyard, then my opponent burns for 1,000. So, and then he can't attack if you use his effect. So, that's the 2 differences. I like Sky Pegasus. He makes perfect sense on being in the deck. Next would be Star Liege, Papa Dynamo. May go ahead and bump him up to 2. Great effect, allows me to draw, keeps the consistency up, and he also negates a monster's effect. So, going against a Draco Sack, he is my best friend. Gaga Cowboy, no explanation needed. Game ender, battle shenanigans with altering the attack of his and the opponent's monster. Abyss Dweller, yes, still running Abyss Dweller. It's very good, especially when you're going against Mermills, which is still very popular. E-Dragons, which is still very popular. So, of course, you need to be able to go ahead and stop their graveyard shenanigans. And then, of course, you just got your big beast sticks for whatever reasons. Utopia, he's still good because he can protect my monster from attacks and pretty much be the sacrificial lamb. And then, of course, we got Gem Knight Krillin. Actually, Gemini Pearl, I colored it to go on ahead. I saw one where somebody tried to go ahead and make Goku, and I was like, I got the markers, but I don't have the time to make a Goku. So I went ahead and made a Krillin. But yeah, so far that's the deck, you guys. Let me know. Let me know what changes you guys would see fit, or if there's any cards I can add into my extra deck. Rate, comment, subscribe. More likes and more likes, subscribers, comments, more videos I can go ahead and do for you guys. Either way, you guys will go ahead and get videos for me. But let me stop talking before you guys just sit back and like, I won't do anything. He'll make more videos. Alright, but it's your boy Chris Mack, signing out.